People on Facebook are just stupid. That's why. They're like, oh, I wouldn't pay more than $30 for that. That's a shelf turd. Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I'll give you a shelf turd.
I mean, think about all the stuff that's in this range between, I would say...
Give me a shelf and I'll give you a turd. That's what, you know.
Hello and welcome everyone to episode 12 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Michael, Anthony, and Steven. Hello, fellas.
Good evening, guys. What's going on?
Hello! Very nice to see you guys.
It's been 2 weeks, man.
2 weeks since somebody had to go on spring break, so how was it?
Spring break 2K21. It was a lot of fun. In bed by 8 o'clock, up at 6:30 in the morning. I mean, how much fun is that?
I think you're mentioning the fact that you went with your family.
Yes, it was a break in only the fact that it is springtime, and that was it, right? So
did you see anything down there?
I saw some dolphins.
Oh.
When I went running, I saw an armadillo. Is that what you mean?
I was thinking more bourbon.
Oh, well, we stopped. We took a roundabout way to get to Florida. My wife wanted to stop in Mississippi for one of the to see one of the cities that does like an HGTV show in Mississippi. So we spent a night there, and so we looked at I looked in one liquor store there when I was waiting on my car to get the oil changed while we were down there. And they seem like, man, Mississippi, from what I see on secondary pages and then what I saw in the store is, I'd like to just take a little road trip to some small towns in Mississippi and see what I can't find. You know, in my short time there, it seemed like I had all kinds of good stuff. I mean, nothing extra special, but, you know, stuff that...
And those were the pretty big places.
Yeah, I mean, stuff that that gets snatched up pretty quickly here, still sitting on the shelves there.
You're going to make me eat my words. I said a couple episodes back, maybe even last episode, that the days of going and traveling around and finding bourbon were done. But
maybe.
Prove me wrong.
I mean, I could be wrong. Now, it got progressively downhill from there. Alabama was awful, and Florida, we've talked about on other episodes, is kind of the armpit of the bourbon world, and it was not good there. There was nothing there. Unless you want to pay $800 for a birthday bourbon.
Do that here.
I mean, yeah, I bet $800 anywhere. I can have it delivered to my house for $600. So
exactly. I'm sad that you didn't get to have more of a good bourbon experience, but I'm glad that we're all back together, hanging out and having a good time. One thing that's great is it's now episode 12, and I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you to all the dedicated listeners that we have out there, especially my one buddy in Ohio, Jeff. Jeff, if you're listening, I just have to say it's been a pleasure to educate you about bourbon, because all the time you spent educating me about different types of Genesee beer. Jeff is from Buffalo, and he was very proud about drinking Ginny and all different varieties coming from Buffalo. So Jeff, just want to give you a shout out, say hey, and thanks for listening, man.
And I heard he doesn't like it when we take weeks off. So
yeah, and that's exactly why I wanted to bring him up, because Jeff, we share those messages that you send between to me. I share them with fellow podcasters here, my buddies Michael and Steven, and you know, we're okay. We can handle the heat.
And just so you know, we've had 14 weeks of episodes. A couple of them have just been, hey, sorry, we can't get out of our house, or we're on vacation. But you know what?
We kept you updated.
Every Friday, you've been able to get an update.
Exactly.
You've been able to get some mashup that has popped up on your iPod, on your iPod. Wow.
It goes in on the cassette next?
Yeah, well,
we can just edit that.
You can just skip through that on the shuffle, iPod shuffle.
Yeah, it's hard work, Jeff, so lay off.
Right, exactly. Come on, we got real lives and real jobs, too.
Yeah.
Before we get started, two quick updates on two topics that I talked about in the past. Is there is a street update for you runners out there. The streets are officially cleaned.
Really? Mine weren't.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of noticed some the other day still.
It took the hill that I was referencing before, it probably took 3 or so weeks after I saw the first one out to actually get that one. That is clear. And people put away your Christmas lights. So let's get started. This week, we have a bottle of Four Roses Small Batch Select.
All right, yes, some Four Roses Small Batch Select. This is distilled by the Four Roses Distillery, and that is in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. The bottle that we're drinking on tonight is a bottle date of 2020. This has an ABV of 52%. It's 104 proof. It is non-age stated, but the tag on the neck says that this is between 6 to 7 years old, and the mash bill is a blend. And so if you know anything about Four Roses, guys, and we'll tell you about it a little bit later on here, they have a bunch of different recipes and different mash bills, but this one is a blend of a 75% corn, 20% rye, and 5% malted barley, and also a 60% corn, 35% rye, and 5% malted barley. And so that's a combination of what we would call a high rye mash bill and one that's not quite high rye. Has an MSRP of $55, and it's only been available in select markets until recently. They just recently had a press release, I think last week, saying how they're going to expand the markets. So it's a little bit of info about this bottle.
Man, I don't know. My head hurts listening to all that information about that mash bill. Like, okay, if you have a combination of two, shouldn't you be able to come up with an actual number for each one of those things? If the first one is 60% corn and the second one is 75% corn, shouldn't the actual mash bill be like 67.5 or whatever?
Do we know where these two mash bills came from? Is one like a yellow label and one is the standard small batch?
That's where it gets very tricky, because I believe the yellow label is a combination of 5 recipes or something like that, or maybe more. And then the small batch, the regular small batch, is a combination of recipes as well. Unless you're intimately familiar with every single recipe, which each recipe has a different yeast strand, and some of them use the same mash bill, it's kind of hard to pin it down.
Yeah, that's what's weird. It's like I'm looking at this tag here, and it's got the 6 recipes of Four Roses Small Batch Select, and it's got.
Wait, do you mean six mash bills?
No, I don't think they're mash bills.
Oh, okay,
no,
just checking.
No, I think some people might think they're mash bills, and they might even say it on their podcast. I don't know, but you know what? That's not what it is.
Yeah, it's become very common.
But I mean, there's all kinds of there's just too many different notes and flavors and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it's like, okay, you know what? If I'm cooking and I throw 100 things into a recipe, you may not taste that one of those 100 things, but it's in there, right? I don't know. To me, it just seems like that's a little too much. You threw too much in there, and now at what point do you not even be able to taste it?
Yeah, I agree. And the whole reason that Four Roses has these different they call them recipes, is mostly about the yeast strand. It's less about the mash bill. Maybe they wouldn't like me saying that, but that's really what it is. They have different yeast strands that contribute to each of these recipes. And so it's kind of been a thing where people are always seeking out different types of the recipes and not really paying as much attention to other things like the mash bill as maybe they could be.
All right, so I don't know anything about Four Roses. You mentioned all that information there. I don't think I've ever had anything from Four Roses.
So, we got a rook over here.
I got a rook. I've got a few Four Roses of the private selects or whatever they call them, barrel strength store picks. But
You never been on the tour?
I've never. Oh, I have been on the tour. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. So I guess I did maybe have one. Yeah, I went with you.
Oh, well then, there you go.
But all I remember of Four Roses tour was compared to I think that day we had gone to Makers, and then we went to Four Roses, and Makers was just so intimate, and then Four Roses was like, here's a video and here's the gift shop. That was what it was like. But anyway, I don't know anything about him other than what I've collected, but I haven't tried. So I don't know. They talk about like the Four Roses yellow label. I don't know. I've gone to the store and I've never seen one with a yellow label. Maybe it's a beige or something. But,
it used to be yellow, but they recently changed it to a more pale yellow.
Is that the one that has the same bottle shape as this, or is that the one that's got the more like up and down?
It's a yellow. I think it's like a
skinnier.
bottle.
Yeah, it almost looks like a wine bottle.
Yeah,
This has the same exact shape and size as the regular small batch.
Okay.
Is the yellow only at the distillery?
No, I think they got it everywhere.
No, it's everywhere.
I've just never really seen it out.
Yeah, well, we only shop on high end stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is. You just don't even notice it because it's on the bottom shelf.
That's the one that's like their cheapest one, right?
Yeah, actually, I think it might be a blend of 8 recipes.
So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's just throwing everything in there. So yeah, like you said, this bottle is the same bottle that they have as the small batch. The other one is just small batch,
just
right?
Small batch,
that looks like this. Okay, and this is small batch select.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, I got nothing to say about the bottle other than, they do their the SMLBLEs, the small batch limited edition ones, right?
Yes.
Those are come out like once a year or something.
Yeah, every fall that limited release that comes out is a blend, much like this is a blend, but it's usually much older stock, and it's usually limited to maybe 3 recipes.
Okay. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what all that stuff. All I know is they all say OE something, OBS, OSF.
Is this the same bottle that they use on like the 1-4 Roses, the 1/30th?
Yes, except I think those are like 700 instead of 750. They're like a little bit smaller.
But it's the same shape.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not identical, but it's close to it.
Close to it, right?
It's close to it, yeah.
Yeah, it's close to it. It's got a good fat cork. I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's like kind of got a wider opening than most of the bottles I think that we've had.
And it's got real cork, so
Real
you
cork,
can't
you
complain
know, I
about
like
synthetic
I like
cork.
a real cork. But yeah, I mean, everything else seems to be pretty nice. It's a nice looking bottle. Like, I mean, I feel like if that was sitting at a bar at a restaurant, it's got the it's got the like etched, embossed roses on it. You know, it really pops. If that was sitting on one of those bars in a club, you know, that with the lights shining up underneath it, you know, it'd look really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do I know, right?
The only thing I like is the way that they did it. The most of the lettering and the accents in black, where the other one is that pale sort of yellow
Right.
color. Then of course they have that tag attached to it because there's so much damn information in that tag. That
I feel like if you have to put that on a
if you
bottle,
try to put it on a bottle,
like,
you could put it on a
and
bottle.
if you have to give this much information, like you're grasping for straws. So, you know, you've already called it a select, which probably was already a way of trying to reel people in with it. You know.
Yeah.
Then on top of it, when they released this, they only released it in a few states, right? And now it's I think starting to come out a little bit more. But so we can get it here in Kentucky, but you know, I don't know. There might be other places you can't get it right now.
I think it's more than half the states now that you can get it as of last week. But before that, it was probably
Man,
only
this
like
is
12.
like breaking news right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
So by the time you listen to this, half of America undoubtedly have listened to this.
There you go. Exactly.
Well, fellas, you want to go in for our first nose?
Absolutely.
I'll let you guys start.
I just think like at first nose of this, you get some sweet bourbon smells, but you also get, I get a lot of ethanol.
I get a lot of ethanol as well.
Yeah, it just kind of whips you in the face.
I was telling y'all before we started this, and I was kind of nosing it. I said it's kind of got that. Before I got into bourbon, this is what I thought bourbon smelled like, you know, and that's not, you know, I didn't really like it. I don't know what that is. It's like maybe it's the ethanol, and
I mean, I'm picking up the standard vanilla caramel out of it, which is
it's better now that I've got
Yeah.
less in my glass than I did
Really?
just a few minutes ago.
picking up on that bubble gum sweetness.
Yeah, it's interesting because one of the reasons I used to seek out Four Roses when I first started drinking it was because I liked that sweet bubblegummy flavor, and I feel like it's kind of been lost, but I feel like it's come back a little bit with
It's
this
probably
one.
from the OGUM recipe.
That's right.
Get it? Hey, shout out to Four Roses for their fantastic curbside delivery though during the pandemic. When they put their
Oh,
Four
God.
Roses barrel strengths out.
Why did you mention that right in the middle of us tasting this? Like
Sorry,
that just
I just-
instantly changes my disposition.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, anybody else that wanted to call 7,000 times and not get through? Yeah.
Well, I
Wonderful
called
time,
7,000
wonderful
times and didn't get through.
I
7,001, I got through though.
time. Yeah. You did get through or you didn't?
Yeah, no, I got through.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got through.
Okay, well, now I'm officially mad at you. That's good.
That's fine.
All right.
I can feel the tension.
I mean, Mike and Mike didn't like each other on ESPN.
There you go.
And they did a show for 15 years together.
That's
so
true. What else are you picking up, Steven? Come on, you
Is there a blackberry in there?
maybe a little bit of berry. I pick up definitely some fruit, but I'm not sure what kind of fruit it's going to be until I taste it.
I get a lot of mint in that one. I just got
Mint, yeah. It's like a fruity spice is the best way for me to sort of.
The mint's good. I'm picking up on that now.
mint and fruity is OESF.
Oh, it is. See, you're reading on the tag now. And OESF is in this, right? If it wasn't in there, that would make me feel bad.
No, I mean I don't know what they all are. I'm just reading the ones that are on this thing. here,
Okay, so yeah, it's in this. It's in here.
This is like a multiple choice test. They already tell you kind of what you know.
Oh yeah, they're like, hey, you might taste one of these 19
Right,
things.
exactly.
You pick it.
You guys want to go in for our taste?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
Oh boy, it's got to finish.
Yeah.
So first thing I'll say is you know that you're drinking something here. Previous times we talk about smoothness, this one definitely gives you a little bit of that Kentucky hug when it finishes. But on the palate,
Maybe that's why I haven't really dove too much into Four Roses, because of that hug, of how much it that rye kicks you.
So what
right
is
from
like?
the beginning?
It does jump up and bite you.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. Like, so the yellow label, what is that, like 90 proof, 80 proof? I mean, I know they have the single barrel that's 100 proof.
Yeah.
You know, and then all their barrel strengths, which are like 105 to 120 probably. But
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm not really sure. Like some brands, I can spit the proof out to you right away. But like with Four Roses, I've enjoyed it when I've had it, but I can't tell you a whole lot about the proof and things like that when we get into the other products. What are you guys tasting here? I get like a
I get a whole lot of nothing.
get a
Which
whole
is
lot of
weird.
nothing.
I'm gonna call this I'm gonna coin this phrase. I'm gonna call this the Clyde May style.
Clyde May style.
Clyde May.
Style. Well, I don't know if you guys have had it, but it's the most generic flavored bourbon out there. Not bad when you think bourbon is just.
It's like when you eat because you're hungry.
Yeah.
But you don't, you
Yeah.
know, you're
Well,
not really.
You don't really
It's
care.
like eating a rice cake. It'll fill you up, but
I had a list, and one of the things on my list was please review Clyde Mays for the podcast. But I guess we've just dashed those dreams now.
Oh, we can just talk about it's it's middle of the roadness.
Yeah.
the Clyde Mays episode will be one of those little 30-second ones that Steven puts out when we're on vacation, right? So
Hey y'all.
Yep, it's
I
bourbon.
just tasted some Clyde Mays.
it's bourbon, it's brown. It's about it.
Oh man.
No,
I get where you're at
I
with
get-
that. I see that. Yeah, you're not getting a ton, but like for me, I get for the fruit that I'm tasting now, it's like cinnamon apples, and I don't particularly like cinnamon in bourbon, so that's a little bit of a turnoff to me.
Yeah, I'm just getting nothing. Besides the burn, I don't know if I can actually pick up a flavor
You're not even getting like any of the classic like caramel stuff or anything.
on the palate.
Yeah, it's faint. I'm tasting, like I said, a lot of cinnamon, a lot of apple. That spice is kind of overwhelming. It's not like really, you know how sometimes you get a pleasant spice? This is not like a pleasant spice to me, but
You know, and I don't want to hate on Lawrenceburg and Anderson County, but have you ever been to Lawrenceburg and Anderson County? This is about what a bourbon from Lawrenceburg tastes like. You know?
come on now.
Are you saying their creek water's not very
You
good?
drive the bypass in Lawrenceburg. The bypass looks about like this bourbon.
I think that means we're going to have to take on some Turkey, right? Because Turkey's a neighbor over there.
Yeah, it's not too far away, right?
to Four Roses, so we'll have to check them out pretty soon.
Be a regional head to head.
Yeah, that would be good. You know, this is really kind of devastating me because I remember when this came out, I still don't understand how you can get consistency in a blend that's this big, right? There's, 6 different recipes in this? And so when it first came out, I remember having a bottle of it and really enjoying it, but not going back and wanting to buy another. And maybe this is the reason that I was thinking, like in that minute, I was thinking, you know, that was really enjoyable, but it even tasted better, I feel like, then than it tastes tonight. So I don't know what's going on. And maybe it's the fact that this came out, about 2 years ago now?
I think 3.
2 or 3, I don't remember.
Yeah.
2 or 3, yeah. That's
I
again,
remember when it came
I
out.
was gonna say the same thing. I remember when it came out and seeing it on the shelves the first time, but
But I remember having it at a bar, and I remember thinking, and that was before I knew it, you know, I really didn't know a whole lot about bourbon, but I remember wanting to try it because it was a moderately priced, I mean, at $50.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'll try that at a bar. It'll probably be $8 or $9 there. I remember having it, and I just remember having something else after that. So I don't remember thinking, man, telling everybody about it.
Well, you know what's so interesting? What do you guys think about the finish? I think it's just kind of like a medium finish that sort of falls off. And it's not bad by any means.
No, and it doesn't have any. I was just thinking the other night I had some, like I had Buffalo Trace pick just at home when I got back, and
which one?
Hops, Grain, and Vine from Georgia, from Atlanta. It was good. To me, I think that's outside of the local one that we've had. I can't think of what the name of it is.
I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, well, I can't think of what it is. I would say it, but I can't think of what it is. This is probably the second best one that I've had, and but I remember thinking, man, this thing has got a really good finish. You know, it's got like some banana to it. It's got
Yeah.
It was
know,
dynamic.
yeah,
It kept going. You kept wanting to
Yeah,
sip
you
it.
just-
Every sip was
yeah,
different.
exactly. So this is just not that.
Coming off as a little one-dimensional.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that's a probably a good way to underwhelming.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I would just say is, I think that the whole reason... So first of all, let's mention that this is Four Roses' first brand extension in a long time, right? So the core products that they've always had are the yellow label that we're talking about, the small batch, the regular single barrel, the barrel strength stuff, which is just a single barrel at barrel strength, not cut at all or anything like that. Then their LE, which comes out annually, and then an occasional special release like the Al Young 50th, which everybody raved about, right? So they don't have a major amount of stuff in their brand portfolio. So this extension was just, everyone was chomping at the bit for it. And I think it really took advantage, or at least try to take advantage of what has been their master distiller's strength, which is blending, right? That small batch every year, that LE is a blended bourbon. It's usually older stock, 3 recipes, and people rave about it. And so I can see why they went with this, but I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, if that makes any sense.
Just a quick side note. What other distilleries blend as much as they do?
Well, I mean, everybody technically blends, but, the difference is you're blending barrels of the same mash bill, right? You're not blending barrels of different stuff. So, like, in terms of...
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying of different things.
Of different things like this, I'm sure a lot do, but, I mean, with Four Roses probably the most famous when it comes to, like, the different mash bills and the yeast strands and everything else. The fact that they're distilling 10 different recipes out there, it's not saying that's unheard of, because, I mean, look at all the other people that are doing stuff like Buffalo Trace and stuff. They got 1,000 different lines and stuff like that. There's a little bit of mystery about what goes into mash bill 1 and 2 and, rye mash bill, wheat mash bill, and so forth. But, it is definitely unique. It's unique, but to me, I don't know. I'll reserve my final opinions when we go to vote here, but
So we're
yes.
Yes. Yeah. So we're at episode 12, right?
Yeah.
So on a scale of Willet Pot Still to Woodford Rye, of the 12 that we've tried, I kind of put it in the middle,
Yeah, that's fair. What do you think?
Maybe closer to the bottom end.
Yeah, I was going to say at most the middle. It's just, the finish is just, blah. Not bad, it's just nothing's there.
Yeah.
It's some of the other products we've tried, having us come back for a sip. And, every time I sip this...
Well, I've kept coming back for a sip just because I was hoping to get better.
Exactly. I'm going to each sip.
Woodford Rye, I kept going back for a sip because, man, it was good.
I'm thinking of all the different bourbon I tried right now, and what I'm thinking of, because in this price category, it's competing with some heavy hitters. You're going to be talking to Blanton's, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
You're thinking of other things that, and I know people love to make fun of Blanton's, but I mean,
Blanton's is good.
I'd rather drink Blanton's over this.
Yeah, I don't know.
No reason to make fun of Blanton's.
Yeah.
There's people on Facebook are just stupid. That's why. They're like, oh, I wouldn't pay more than $30 for that. That's a shelf turd. Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I'll give you a shelf turd.
I mean, think about all the stuff that's in this range between, I would say...
Give me a shelf and I'll give you a turd. That's it, They probably kind of knew what they were putting out. I don't know. Every time I go to Costco, there's like 50 bottles of these things sitting there. Seems like it's kind of the thing that they put out, and they're trying to really push, but they kind of probably also know it's not the greatest thing in the world.
Do you think it's trying to take advantage of all the things that bourbon drinkers say they want? Like, if you look right on the label, it says non-chill filtered, right? On the front, doesn't it say non-chill?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does, right on the neck. I was going to say...
So right on the neck... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the reason I asked about the blending is that, we're getting no taste out of this, essentially. And they put those 6 different recipes in there. I mean, are they counting each other off that we're just not getting things? Or to me, it's almost like overthinking.
That's what I think. It's
overthinking the bottle.
It's like they put too much into it.
Yeah.
You start throwing too many in together, and you're just not going to get a taste. It's
That's
like you throw
possible.
6 colors together, you're going to get brown. That's just the way it is.
And I almost feel like it's... Yeah, I agree. Maybe that's possibly it. Maybe they're canceling each other out. Maybe it's just that, when you got that many different yeast strands and 2 different mash bills, and you still got that high rye content and everything else, it just kind of...
Or at this level, is it take a master distiller to pick out stuff, but I can't...
Maybe we're too amateurish for it, Is that
Maybe
what
we
it is?
are. But you know what? I guarantee you we're a lot more professional than most bourbon drinkers, and they're not going to like it either, so...
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some things that I like about it. I do, like I said, think it has a good spicy flavor. I catch some of the faint bourbon stuff, like the caramel and vanilla. I get a lot of apples and cinnamon. I just don't like cinnamon, so I'm not going to particularly be enjoying that.
Right.
But, for a $55 bourbon, that, like I said, I feel like almost plays on what what bourbon drinkers care about. Non-chill filter, high proof, right? and being over 100, but not just 100, it's 104.
Yeah.
And then 6 to 7 years old. So it sort of checks a lot of boxes that people say they want, but it's not checking the box for me. I mean,
So Anthony, what are you gonna do with the rest of this bottle then?
you know, my brother's going to be in town this
There
week.
you go.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wait till Jeff comes in. Give it to Jeff.
Yeah, when Jeff comes in, we'll give it to him now.
He can have it.
I mean, it's not undrinkable.
Drink
It's not
this, Jeff, on
toast.
Fridays when we don't get a podcast out. All right.
There you go, right? No, it's not undrinkable by any means. It's just
So you're saying this is gonna go a little faster than that pot still that Steven has sitting on his counter over there?
yeah, probably, right? I mean, that pot still might be there till
Oh my God, he'll sell it with the house probably.
2030.
You know?
I think I'm gonna start cracking open some Coke.
Yeah, you know how you know how you see people on Facebook that they go to their grandparents' house after their grandparents die and they're cleaning it out and they find some bottles that are old and they're like, oh man, look what I found at my house. You know, Steven's grandkids are gonna find that pot still sitting there and they're gonna like, oh man, this thing is gonna be great. It's 80 years old. You know, like this thing was. Look at this thing.
They're gonna take the first sip and be like, what was he thinking?
Like, this is disgusting. He paid how much for this? Even 80 years ago, this was. Ugh.
And then you'll go down the line and somebody then will be wanting to pay that money for it.
Yeah,
so you never
maybe.
know.
Like, oh, look at this cool bottle.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, would you pass, try, or buy on the Four Roses Small Batch Select?
I've tried it twice now, and I think I would pass.
Yeah, I don't want to go stew on this one that long. I will just say that I would have been probably a buy after the first bottle I had, but something just clicked off with me, and so now I'm trying it again. I was really hoping I'd like it more, but I would probably also pass just because there's just too many things that I like that are better than this in that price category. So I would just leave this one alone.
I agree. I would pass on this. Just between the Four Roses, just spiciness that is in the recipe that I'm not gonna say turns me off, but it's just a little hot, and there's just nothing in the palate. It's just for me, it's not that enjoyable to drink. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
Yeah, so I remember early in my bourbon journey, having it when it first came out, and I was thinking, it's all right, it's fine. And so now, obviously, I've tried a lot of other things since then. So I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe I'll give this another whirl now. And, maybe I've had so many other things now that, no thanks.
Yeah, it kind of pains me to say it because I do enjoy their barrel strength picks, but I mean that's really and when I have a chance to have the small batch, the limited one, that's great too. But yeah, it's just kind of lost again. It's lost amongst me. You kind of find out what you like, and that price range is not something I'd buy. I'm exasperated saying that though. Like I really wanted to like it. Yeah, well. Okay.
So, update on, was it last episode when I told you I was heading to Florida? I was excited about some new seltzers, hard seltzers.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, y'all remember that?
yeah.
Remember I said when we hit that Florida line, we're going to look for
You're gonna look for some
new
limited releases.
Yeah, limited release Bud Light seltzers, the Out of Office collection.
Oh.
So we got them, found them. First, we didn't think we could find them, but we did. A little looking, a little searching, we found them. They aren't that good. They're really not that good. I was disappointed. It was like the Four Roses Small Batch Select of hard seltzers.
What was in the Out of Office collection?
So there was like so basically they took the flavors that you have in the regular variety pack and they kind of added a cocktail flavor to it too. So, if you normally have a lemon lime, now you had a lemon lime margarita. If you normally had a strawberry, you have a strawberry daiquiri one now. So it was kind of like that. Pineapple was a pina colada one. And I don't know, it didn't. So I guess it's kind of like more like an RTD.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just didn't like it. Didn't have the flavors that I like. We did come across some Facebook advertising. By the way, is freaking genius.
They listen.
I mean, it's crazy.
They listen.
It's sick. They do. If anybody says they don't listen, they listen.
Yeah.
So they see we're in Florida. They pick that up on your pinging and all that kind of stuff, I guess. And so they start advertising this ranch water hard seltzers.
Interesting.
Now,
And
you drink this with celery?
Yes, actually they have on April Fool's Day. It's funny that you say that.
He's joking.
Because on April Fool's Day they put out an ad where they said we've listened and we finally put out our new flavor and it was it was Hidden Valley Ranch water, like that. So anyway,
gosh.
so my wife's like, we gotta go try this. Like, we gotta find this thing, So we go and get some, and you talk about a pass, try, or buy. Man, we'll buy that. Like, it was pretty good. We brought a few home. They don't have them in Kentucky, so they're only in every state that we traveled to, though: Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida. So we should be able to get them pretty easily.
Were they mixed drinks or were they flavored
No, they're
waters?
just flavored water,
Okay.
hard seltzers. They're made with Topo Chico water. You ever had a Topo Chico? It's like
Is that the stuff that in Mexico gives you?
maybe it does.
I was going to ask if it
gives
was
you the shelf turd.
I thought maybe it was a Maker's Mark Stave profile, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like one of the things that people write on the.
It's a Topo Chico
Is
Stave.
what they do. So anyway, it was all right.
How many?
It was fine.
Six of them.
They were good, and they're so we tried some of those. So all in all, we had a good seltzer experience while we were in
That's
Florida.
awesome.
We needed them because kids were wearing us out. So
What flavors did they have? The ranch.
well, there was where we went, where the only things they had where I was like a lemon lime agave kind of flavor, and then there was a spicy. I don't even know what that was. I didn't even look at it.
It's a weird flavor.
Yeah, it's a weird. They have other flavors, so we'll find out, I guess, when we go back somewhere else. And then also update on those of you guys the millions that listen to the Woodford Reserve Rye. Remember we were talking about how we weren't sure how available that is in a lot of markets. We visited obviously Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida on our trip, and I could find it in every one of those states.
What were the prices on them?
Pretty similar, $32 or $33 for a 750. So so it's going to range like $5. So you'd be all right.
That's
So
good.
Go out and get it, man. Like seriously, that is. I mean, there was a Baby Saz I saw on a shelf, and then I saw that, and I'm thinking, man, that's two really good ryes right there, sitting there.
I saw Baby Salad on a shelf one of my trips.
You did?
Yeah, but I think it was $200.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah. This one was $30. I think $30 is what I think.
Oh, wow.
Was what I told you all, something like that. I thought that's not bad. $30 or $35. I was like, that's pretty good. We were a little closer to New Orleans than, so obviously I think that might have played a factor in how they get a few more of them there.
It's probably like that OWA in Ohio, which is now rumored to be gone. We'll see if it is or not.
Yeah, right. We'll see. Yeah. So I can also throw in the Michael Jordan baseball card I found in my collection when I was cleaning out my baseball cards at my parents' house.
You're gonna tape it right to the side of the Rockville Farms.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you got
That's
some.
Man, that's awesome.
So that's gonna be your pick bottle.
Yeah,
you're gonna put the Jordan card on there. And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.